I'm one of those people that when I was a little kid, I wanted to be an artist, so I just always wanted to do this. And went to college, went to undergraduate school, followed by graduate school to major in painting. But I've just always drawn and painted and did other things since as far back as I can remember. My husband and I bought our property here in the late 70s, 78, and it's 40 acres of beautiful woods and fields in west central Wisconsin. I come down to the studio every day that I can, which is most days, and I'm here most of the day painting. This is something I've been able to do in recent years, to work full-time here in the studio, and it really is the best life I can imagine. It can be very hard work. It can be hard physically because of hauling things around. These panels are not light. And it can be hard mentally and emotionally to spend entire days making decisions and thinking about things. And it's not easy at all, but it's incredibly rewarding. And I look back on many years of creating paintings that are now in all kinds of places. They're in people's homes, they're in public places, and they're in businesses, and they're in universities, and they're owned by people I know, and mostly by people I don't know at all. But I just love the idea that they're out there and they're part of people's lives. Every painting is a mystery. Every painting is a discovery to me, and I don't really know how it's going to turn out. They change a lot as I'm working on them, and every one is just a new situation, a new relationship with that painting. And I really love the process of painting. I really love the color. I love making very complicated textures, building up the layers of paint, and the mixture of surprise and control over the work, over the medium that I have. Most of my work is built up in layers, so I tend to alternate between, say, opaque colors and transparent colors, or dark colors and light colors. Get some kind of contrast going between the layers, and then if I end up scraping back through or dissolving some layers with solvent, that's where a lot of the texture comes from that. I use a lot of different tools when I paint. This is a brayer, just a roller. The paint I've put down here is a transparent white. I'm going to see what it looks like over the transparent orange paint stick. Scrape here, there's some darker color that's coming through there. So the process of what I'm doing is a sort of a combination of it being intuitive or experimental, and also because I've worked with all of these tools a lot, I have a pretty good idea of what they're going to do, although there's always surprises. And now I'm going to take a little bit of tube paint, right out of the tube, and draw with it, which is something that Jackson Pollock used to do, and other abstract expressionists. So this is, I always like this part. And like I said, this is a very early stage of the painting. So most of this will eventually end up being covered up. But it all is there. It all adds to the depth of the painting. I put some paint down. Now I'm going to go over it again with this white paint that I had put down before. And you see that the texture is getting more complex, and there's some color interaction going on that wasn't there before. And I'm going to try to kind of maybe section off some areas so that there's more of a focal point in certain places. Whisk broom. The whisk broom also makes very small, fine lines in the surface, which can have a really beautiful effect. And pretty much here I'm working with related colors, oranges, reds, yellows, and a little bit of the greenish color for contrast. I really love color. I mean, color is to me so changeable and mysterious. I love intense color, and yet I also love subtlety. These panels are always in flux until I actually have them bolted together. When they're finally done, they're all up for grabs. You know, even though that painting over there is, I consider well on the way to being finished, I still might say, kind of like this panel here, over here. Let's see how that will look. Well, I kind of like that. I might not actually steal it from this one. I might get another panel and start from the beginning and use the similar colors. So there's really no one definite way that I approach these paintings. It's a collage attitude. It's take a little here, try a little of this, try a little of that. When I come to the final arrangements of my paintings, there's a meaning behind them. There's something that I'm looking for, and whether it's a place or a mood, a situation, a memory, it could be a lot of different things. And this painting here, it's not finished, but I think it's probably going to stay in this arrangement because this arrangement makes some kind of sense to me. To me, it brings forth an idea of a shoreline, of rocks, water, driftwood, things bleached by the sun and the water. There's a sense to me that a painting is finished when it has a certain presence and an individuality that just seems like it could be no other way, that it contains a sense of completeness but mystery, and that there's also some tension within it, some energy. Maybe there's a few questions left unanswered. And I go into each painting as an open-ended exploration, and so there really is no one interpretation of my work, and I always hope that when someone looks at my work that they are invited to contemplate it in a sort of a meditative way, and that the painting will speak to them of their own experience and their own imagination and take them someplace that I would never know. And so what I want to do is infuse the work with enough qualities to give people a point, a jumping off point for their own ideas. And to that end, I look to put into my work certain qualities, a sense of unity and yet a lot of subtle variation in the work, and a sense of completeness, wholeness to it.